What's up, guys? So in this video I want to have a Lunalight deck profile, and so last night I went undefeated. I came back into the game and I'm really loving this deck. This deck's ceiling is pretty high now that a lot of the FTKs and a lot of problems I had with the game, like Gumblar Dragon, they're completely gone with the game, and I feel now is a time for Lunalights to really shove its way into the meta. And again, I went completely undefeated, and I want to show you guys my deck profile. So first off, I played 3 Lunalight Kaleidoscope. Of course, this is like the best card in the entire deck. It has the ability to send a monster from your extra deck or main deck as cost. And the effect is this card will get the name of that card that's sent. Now, the name thing is not really relevant. It's the fact that you get to send any monster to the graveyard. Your targets are mainly going to be Panther Dancer. It's going to be Yellow, the Yellow Lunalight monster, the new one. And maybe Crimson, if you really do feel like it, because Crimson does offer protection in the graveyard. But yeah, this card is your main combo starter. It's the main card you're always going to be searching for, or special summon from the deck by other means. But it's the best card in the deck, hands down. The other effect that it has is super relevant. The effect is when this card is banished, you can activate the effect that your opponent cannot use cards or effects during the battle phase, completely locking them out. So let's say they have a Link Kribo on the board, you can just attack over that thing and it can't stop your attack or change your monster's attack points. But yeah, this card is amazing. You always want to try to get this card out on the field to start your fucking plays. I love this card. It has the other effect to recover polymerization, but that's not really too relevant. Next up, I play 3 Lunalight Black Sheep. A lot of profiles I've seen, they're only playing 2 or even 1 of this card. I feel that is a complete and utter mistake. This card has 2 abilities that's extremely relevant. If you activate this card, you can discard it from your hand, and you can either recover a Lunalight monster from your graveyard, or you can search for a polymerization. A lot of people remember the polymerization from Zoo format when they search Fusion Sub. Also, if it's sent to the graveyard as fusion material, you get to recover as well. But this card is really powerful, not only for searching polymerizations, but just recovering from your graveyards. You can get the Miracle Fusion Pendulum monster from the graveyard, which I'll talk about a little bit later on as well. Next up, you have 2 yellows. 3 is a complete mistake. 3 is just too bricky. 2 is just perfect. I tested with 1 and it's just not enough because it can easily get banished by its own effect. So let's talk about this card. This card's effect is, first off, the best effect is that you can you can bounce one Lunalight monster on your field to your hand, and then you can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. And if it leaves the field, if it was special summoned by this effect, it gets banished. This card is powerful for fucking plays. I am telling you, when it combos off with Tiger, which I'll talk about next, this card is just completely busted. Also, if it's sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you get to search 1 Lunalight spell or trap, and there are some powerful Lunalight spells or traps you have access to. So next up, you have 3 Lunalight Tiger. 2 is a fucking mistake. Also, I play 3 of the Miracle Fusion. 2 is a fucking mistake. I'm tired of seeing people play 2 and 2 of this card. Wolf is needed in this deck. The Wolf is extremely necessary, getting out your boss monster as the easiest way possible. You can set up very easy for this card. But let me talk about the effect. So the monster effect is not relevant. It's just the monster effect is your Lunalights get piercing, which is, you know, whatever. But the main effect, the pendulum effect, is basically Miracle Fusion. You can fusion summon using cards in your graveyard or your field as material. That's very busted for getting out your boss monster, fusion monster. Now this card is fucking busted, especially when combined with yellow. Alright, so this card's effect, once per turn, not a hard once per turn, you can special summon a monster from your graveyard, Lunalight monster from your graveyard in defense position. Its effect is negated and destroyed at the end phase. That's his pendulum effect. His monster effect is if this card is popped, special summon a Lunalight from your graveyard, but that's whatever. So basically, if yellow is already in your graveyard, you can activate this, special summon another Lunalight from your graveyard, then use this card's effect, yellow, to bounce it off the board, special summon yellow in defense, scale this again, and get another reborn effect, because it's not a hard once per turn, because that's why this card is stupid. It's not a hard once per turn, so that really unlocks the full potential of this deck. There's also a combo with one of the link monsters I play that actually pops this card, and when it's popped, you can special summon from the graveyard again. So you can special summon from the graveyard a lot with this fucking card. It's so powerful, man. Tiger was not really all that good, but now with the new support, it makes it that much more relevant. Now, for the one of Lunalight monsters I play, the last Lunalight monsters is Crimson, Emerald Bird, and Purple Butterfly. These are really good cards. This stops targeting on Lunalight monsters. You can negate targeting effects by banishing from the graveyard. This, if you banish this from the graveyard, special summon a Lunalight from your hand, which is extremely powerful. Emerald Bird, however, is just a different story. So when this card is normal summoned, you can discard one Lunalight card from your hand to draw one card. Now that's relevant because a lot of Lunalights, they have effects in the graveyard. You can, especially the spells and traps, which I'll talk about a little bit later. So you can ditch those cards to draw one card. However, if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can special summon one Lunalight from your banished pile or your graveyard. So as you've seen, the recurring theme with this deck is special summoning from the graveyard. There's a lot of effects in this deck that do that, and Emerald Bird is just just another version of that. I want to talk about this card for a second. I'm gonna add this card. I didn't play it in tournament, but I'm probably gonna take out Purple Butterfly because her effect really didn't come up that much at all, even though it is kind of useful. Just because this card, it bounces spells and traps your opponent has, and it's also another monster reborn card. So if this card is normal summoned, special summon a Lunalight from your graveyard, and the second effect is you can bounce spells and traps your opponent controls equal to the number of other Lunalight cards you control. So I think I'm gonna play this over Purple Butterfly. I have to test more with it, but I think that's what I'm gonna go with. And that is it for the Lunalight monsters. But for the hand traps I play Gary Gamma, and then I side other hand traps. So the thing about this is a turn second deck. This is an OTK deck, and I feel like if you're going to go into any game with a blind going second, Gear Gamma is what you want to go with. I know it's kind of expensive, but you kind of need Gear Gamma with turn 2 decks. It's very powerful, very useful. Onto the spells and traps. So I am playing 2 Lunalight Fusion. Lunalight Fusion searchable with yellow. I only play 2 because I don't want it to brick with polymerization, because I am also playing poly. But what this card does, the difference between this and poly, if your opponent controls an extra deck monster, you can just use a monster in your extra deck or main deck as material. Now that is so fucking stupid, and that should not be on a fucking Yu-Gi-Oh card. It's pretty much a foolish that acts as a card effect send. So you can activate this, you can send yellow from your deck as a fusion material, get yellow's effect, search another Lunalight spell or trap. You can send Emerald Bird for a special summon from the graveyard. You can send Panther Dancer to get out your boss monster easily. This card is nuts. Yes, your opponent has to control an extra deck monster, but this is Yu-Gi-Oh, where your opponent's always going to control an extra deck monster if you're going second. That's just the way it is. I feel this is perfect support for Lunalights. Again, that going second is hard. It's hard to break boards in this game, but this card just makes it that much easier, being able to use cards in your freaking extra deck or your main deck. It's insane, dude. I love this goddamn card. Lunalight Perfume. It's a monster reborn card, so you activate this, special summon a Lunalight from your graveyard. Also, you can banish this card, discard a card, and then you can search for Lunalight. So it's a monster reborn, and it's a Tenki in 1. Very, very powerful. You need this card at 3, no more, no less. It just does too much to play it at 2, which, again, I'm tired of people playing it at 2. I'm tired of seeing profiles like that. Dance, one of the new cards. So just like Perfume, these two kind of have synergy together. So if you search out Dance, you can banish this card, discard this card, search. And this card's graveyard effect is you can banish it, discard, and special summon from the deck directly. So this searches, this special summons from the deck. Poly, 2 poly. I'm thinking about cutting one and putting in another Lunalight fusion. Since you know Lunalight fusion is pretty much discard but better. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about polymerization. I am gonna cut it. Probably put the third Lunalight fusion. But the thing about poly though, I always use this card as discard fodder because I had, you know, it's just a card in the hand that you really don't need because there's so many other ways to fusion summon. So usually I'll like pitch this card for something. I'll dump it for one of the spells and traps I just showed you. But yeah, poly is, I don't know. During tournament I didn't really use polymerization that much, despite this being a fusion deck. I used Wolf to fuse more often, or the other one. 3 tanky. Your consistency card. This card searches for a beast warrior level 4 or lower, and our targets are plenty. 2 foolish burial goods. Sending, perfume, and dance. 3 called by the grave. Going turn 2 decks. Need called by the grave. A lot of good interaction. Now, 1 ofs, 1 twin twister, 1 monster reborn, 1 pot of desires. So I've been really thinking about this for a while now. I side deck the other 2 twin twisters. I don't just play 1, but I don't know, man. I use this just in case because not all decks use spells and traps, but Ultra Geist are decks. So I do main the 1 inside the 2, and I also main the 1 desires. I was thinking about, hey, maybe cutting this, putting 3 in my side deck, and maining 2 desires, but I don't want to open up 2 desires, you know. And my fear, of course, drawing into desires with desires. So I feel if you play 1 desires, there's literally 0 chance of that ever happening. And with Lunalight searching and dumping and special summoning from the deck, you do a ton of that shit, and then at the end of all of that, you use desires to draw an additional 2 cards. So you're getting everything you need out of the deck, and then you're drawing 2 additional cards, and that is the main deck. Really like this deck, but let's get into the extra deck. So the extra deck is very tight right now. I'm trying to find space for other things, but I'm playing 2 of the amazing boss monster. It's like Blue Eyes Chaos Max on actual crack. Let me explain what this card does. So first off, this card cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects, just like Chaos Max. Also, it has the additional effect. It has 3 big effects. So again, first effect cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. The next effect is that if it attacks, destroy all special summon monsters your opponent controls. So boom, you get out on the board, you attack, and then destroy everything your opponent controls. But on top of that, this card can attack twice. So you attack, destroy everything, you attack again. It's so fucking stupid. It cannot be targeted or destroyed. I absolutely adore this card. Best card in the deck, best card in the game, one of the best, most powerful boss monsters in the game, and that's my personal opinion. Next, Panther Dancer. You go into this one. You can only go into this using Panther Dancer as material. Again, there are several ways to send Panther Dancer to the graveyard, several ways to use it. Again, using Lunalight Fusion. If your opponent controls an extra deck monster, you can send this card from the extra deck as material to get out this motherfucker, Leo Dancer. You can send this card using Kaleido Check, which is the main purpose of this card, is to send this. And then this card's name becomes Panther Dancer, so you can use this as material. Or you can use Wolf, banishing this from the graveyard to get it out as well. So that's 3 ways to get out Panther Dancer, to use it as material. That's all Panther Dancer's purpose. I never summoned Panther Dancer, ever. It might even come up, but I don't know. I just never did it, and it's been a long time since I summoned Panther Dancer. But I use it as a stepping stone to get into Leo Dancer. Next up, I do play this though. I did cut it. I did not play this during tournament. But after testing, you realize that this card, even though it's not the strongest card, even though it doesn't have the best effect or the best stats, you use it with Lunalight Fusion to send from your deck. So if you have one Lunalight in your hand, and then you can activate Lunalight Fusion to send the card from the main deck to continue the combos. This card you should only summon if you need to send a Lunalight from your deck to the graveyard. That's this card's purpose. And other than that, that's why I play it. Again, I don't summon it unless I feel like I have to summon it, because this is really a waste of resources to get out. I'm sorry to say, but it is a waste of resources. This effect is not that good. You tribute a Lunalight monster, and then it can attack with all your opponent's monsters, but it's just not that good of a card. To be honest with you, it's very underwhelming, but you use it as a stepping stone. Now this is a good card, one of the new support fusions. Materials are 3 fusion monsters, 3 Lunalight monsters, sorry. So its effect is it cannot be targeted. So just like Leo Dancer, it cannot be targeted. It can be destroyed though by card effects, unfortunately. So first off, it gains 200 for every Lunalight monster that's in the graveyard or banished, which is pretty good. Attack boosting is always amazing. It's 3,000 base, so it can get up to like 4,000 pretty goddamn easily. Its second effect is not the turn this card was sent to the graveyard. You can banish it, target a fusion monster, and it gains 3,000 attack. So you can make Leo Dancer gain 3,000 more attack, which is fucking broken. Next up, that is it for the fusion monsters. So let's go into the Link monsters. So Wee Witch, level 2 Darks. This fucking card. This card I had no idea was so powerful in this deck. I don't even know the name. Fighting some shit. This card is amazing. It's a Beast Warrior, and I'll talk about why it's amazing in a second. Let me just put this over here. 1 Phoenix. Phoenix, of course, hitting that back row, and 1 Summon Sorceress. So this is why I play this card. So let's talk about it. This card's effect, it gains attack based on Beast Warriors in your graveyard, which is, you know, on the field, which is fine. But the most relevant part of this card's effect is that you can pop a spell or trap you control, and your opponent controls. So destroy 2 spells and traps at the same time from opposite sides of the board. And if you remember, like I explained, Tiger has synergy with this card, right? So you get this card out, you target Tiger after you use this Reborn effect, how many times you can abuse it. So you pop this card and you pop a spell trap your opponent controls. Then this card's effect would trigger, its monster effect would trigger, saying if this card was destroyed, special summon a Lunalight from your graveyard. So you see that. So you use this card, you special summon yellow. I'll maybe do a combo video later on, but you use this, special summon a monster, use yellow to bounce this, scale it again, use the pendulum effect to special summon a monster. You get this card out, because now you have 2 monsters on the board, thanks to this card's effect. Well, 3 technically. So you have 3 monsters on the board, and then you use this card to pop this. Boom, it's destroyed. You pop the spell or trap your opponent controls. Then this card's monster effect will activate, special summoning from the graveyard again. So that's 3 cards this card got from the graveyard. This card is broken, especially combined with this. But you're not done. So the next part of the combo you're going to do is that you're going to summon Sork. You can use this card and another Beast Warrior to get out Summon Sork. And from there, you can just continue your play. Summon Sork is special summon from the deck. It is just busted. These cards are amazing, and I'm glad I created that combo, and I'll do a combo video later on if you'd like me to. Okay, so moving on, Proxy. This is supposed to be a Borload Dragon. My friend was kind enough to let me use it for a tournament. Borload, not Boral Sword, even though I do want to add Boral Sword into this deck, and I'll talk about the card I'm gonna cut for it. But I did play Borload during the tournament, and I didn't really use Borload. I used Borload to bait out back row. That's the point of Borload that I use in tournament. Biz Dweller, Tornado Dragon, and Evil Swarm Nightmare, all self-explanatory cards. Evil Swarm Nightmare flips cards face down, so if your opponent special summons, flip it face down. Your opponent cannot use that monster as link material now, or use their effect, because they're obviously face down ass first. And the last extra deck card I use is Psyframe Omega. I'm thinking about cutting this card. Omega never came up. Obviously, the point is for if you're using Gary Gamma and Driver. If you use it on your turn, you can Synchro Summon and get out Gamma. That only literally came up once, and it wasn't even a tournament. I was just testing the deck, and that's when it came up. So I'm probably gonna cut this card and put in a Boral Sword, so I'll have Boral Load and Boral Sword in the deck. That's what I'll probably end up doing, because this absolutely never ever came up, and I'm kind of disappointed it didn't. It has the potential to, because the hand trap, but you know. So that is it for my Lunalight in-depth deck profile.